And let's put our hands together to welcome one and all Tony Singh.
A very different role in life at this stage of my journey through this world, and I continue to build on what I sort of shared with you earlier. There is so much happening out there, and it's so interesting and it's so relevant that we decided last time after our last meeting that we've got to really take this very seriously and move forward. So the great news is we've incorporated, we have a legal entity in place, memberships are beginning to happen, we have a presence on the website, and we're beginning to make some very tangible, serious a movement forward. This is a community, and this is not a business. So all of us are going to learn a little bit about a different paradigm and have to deal with some of the changes in conditioning that we've all been used to in most of our lives, including myself. So this is actually a very interesting challenge for me as well, to change a lot of the way I think, to be able to take this initiative forward. But I want to start off by saying a very big thank you. I want to share with you what the big picture is looking like in my head. Because this is really early stages, but we've got a fantastic bunch of people coming together, to support this community growth. And here is a flavor of it. We have a number of people who are still WIP in the process of becoming members. The usual, issues when you have a startup, online processes. We are perfecting the Matada, and people are learning how to do it. And international payments, not easy through the gateways and all that. So one's learning a lot, but we are moving forward, and it's making great progress. I'm really delighted because I know the stock of what's on board and what's coming, and the quality of people that are interested in this, and the feedback that we've got. The fundamental idea and to our fundamental initiative is just outstanding. So thank you very much, particularly our founder members, and life members. Thank you for supporting us. It's very important, for us to get the momentum, to build the critical mass for us to establish a reasonable presence in what we're trying to do. One of the things that we will be polling later on, the community is, should this be a mass operation or a class operation, and that'll be an interesting debate and be handled later on. But we are very happy with the progress that we've made till date, and the community is already beginning to work. One of the underlying objectives of the community was that everybody will participate in this, and everybody contributes. And we have 12 people who are managing this event, and these are all people who are working with each other. They are all visible here. We are all wearing the same green color tag. Please reach out to us if there's anything we can do to help you. So just to remind you, TQIW, as we call it, that's our nickname, is really, as I said, it's a community. It's not a business, And we are trying to bring people together who are seekers. The bottom line here is people who are inquisitive, who are searching, who want to do better, who want to, keep a better, control of their own health and a greater ownership for their own health, and willing to help others, who have health issues, on a more ethical, realistic, truth-based, root cause-based, treatment protocol. So this is a community of, on one side, you have a lot of people who are practitioners, professionals as I would call them. They are doctors, they are healers on one side, and then there are people who are looking, for alternative treatment, or complementary treatment, meta-medicine or integrated treatment, or whatever name called. And therefore this community is about, bringing together, these two, sets of people who will interact with each other and then grow together. Doctors need the patients, and patients need the doctors, right? And both have to be of the same kind of mindset to be able to relate to quantum medicine or the new emerging paradigms of integrated medicine. And that's why the community approach is probably the best approach, because you need to develop the trust that yes, I can trust the doctor or the practitioner or the healer, or the therapist, that I want to try. And at the same time, the doctor needs to have a patient, who is open-minded enough to accept the paradigms of modern thinking in holistic healing. So that's why the community approach, and that's why bringing together, that's why creating these events so everybody gets to know each other. Already in the little time that we've been doing this informally, the relationships are really beginning to bloom. Yeah, I can already know a number of people who are in touch with each other, and the magic is already happening. Yeah, so I'm very delighted that in some way or the other, everybody, in the lot of people who have been coming for these events, have begun to interact and develop relationships and develop, meaningful, next steps, going forward. So why is this being launched, really? And the fundamental reason is because, as a result of quantum thinking, and in the world, thought continues to move forward. And in every society, what happens is that the tail gets chopped off and a new head lands up as part of the creative process, right? For example, our kids now don't even know how food is grown, but they are very savvy, with IT related stuff. So society keeps moving on. So as society move on, the thought processes change, and new paradigms emerge, and so on and so forth. And I think there is a lot of feeling now in all the circuits that I roam around. And I know Dr. Chauhan roams around in similar kind of circuits, and there are many of you who also do that. We are seeing a huge explosion in people seeking alternative, complementary, integrated approaches, and to their well-being. And that is just mushrooming in an unbelievable manner. And therefore, the reason for that is because I think there's a general understanding now, and a realization, and acceptance of that the root cause based treatment is really more meaningful than the previous regime of system based treatment, which has dominated treatments around the world. And that the body-mind-soul connection is a very important connection and must be respected in well-being. And the whole suite of energetics, is totally missing in allopathic practice today. And it's a very powerful suite. And the quantum physicists are now able to explain what this whole thing is all about. It's no more mumbo jumbo. And we are going to show you glimpses of that, in these 2 days. And we have also known that the side effects from medicines are pretty severe, and they're beginning to getting identified now. And people want to reduce their dependencies on perpetual medication, and they're looking for a more effective, way of treatment rather than being on more and more expensive pills, all your life. So there's an awareness to this which is happening around the world, which is unavoidable, and that's a change in consciousness in a way of what's happening around us. So we feel that we want to encourage that, because there's an opportunity, to change the paradigm here for the benefit of humanity. Our job is to advocate change and to facilitate change. We are not in business, as you know, but any of you who want to get into this business based on this emerging paradigm, that's your prerogative, and we will do our best to share with you information, perspectives, whatever we can, so that you can be successful in delivering better value to humanity as we go forward. So it's all when you place a bet on anything to do, you have to ask yourself the question: is this bet a reasonable bet? Is it got a chance to succeed or not, or is this just one man's what should I say obsession? So, as part of my discipline of trying to set up anything, I did a lot of testing around with this idea, with a lot of people, and I must admit to you that not one person I have met, I must have met over 100 people, not one person has shot on the idea, and everybody has encouraged this, idea going forward. I said that's not enough for me, so let me drill down a little bit. I organized a workshop in Paris, and I had 12 people around the table, and these are world-class, people. They were physicists, Amit Goswami, because it's very important to take the scientists with you on a journey like this, because science and spirituality, science and medical are both flip sides of the same coin. If they work together, then the world will believe you. Otherwise, the scientists are always opposing, what's happening in terms of proposals that come to the table. So there's a Nobel laureate here, Luc Montagnier, who heads the UNESCO program on AIDS prevention, for example. There are 7 doctors here. There are 3 scientists here, and there are a couple of what I call seekers, but very informed speakers. And I was the moderator, not a participant. And I raised the 2 questions: whether this is doable at all or not, and if it can be done, is it worth putting energies into and leading it? Do we have enough volunteers around that table to participate seriously in this discussion? And the answer was a resounding yes. And not only that, but when is the next meeting? And the next meeting is 16th of October in Paris. Yeah. And so, that's the endorsement I got from this group. And then, I suddenly meet, some people in Paris, and they are running an institute, and it is like TQIW already in place. Yeah. These people are near Bordeaux, in France, and they have 200 plus members. This is a community meeting taking place. This happens every day now, virtually, this meeting. And and they got 40 plus therapists who are in the community, and they have 20 odd plus different therapies that are taking place, magnetotherapy and past life regression and so on and so forth. And they're already in it. And this is in a country where, by law, a lot of the things that can happen in India can't legally happen there. Yeah. It's unbelievable, the protocols of what you can and what you cannot do in terms of medical treatment in France. Yeah. And yet this is happening. They are breaking the rules. They have found ways to position themselves in a manner that it can be done, and it's a wonderful example. And this is their center. And somebody came and gave them the center for €1 a year. Yeah. So this is a real life example. By the way, I have a great relationship with these people. They've come and had dinner with me at home, and all of TQIW members are more than welcome to go and visit them, participate in the community, see it with your own eyes, learn from them, from their therapists. They have the model of a person who can guide when somebody walks into their center and says, listen, I've got these problems, and how do I sort of negotiate value from this institute? They've got a person who does that. So we got a role model here. And one of the recruitments we want to do, who can train up our person, to how to address this issue. Because the space is so vast that you can get very easily lost. Yeah. And if you don't have somebody who's knowledgeable, you can get misdirected. So handling the induction of a seeker into taking ownership and guiding the person that look at it like this, look at it this, try this, read up this and all that. That's a very important piece that has to be put on the table, and they have a role model already for that. Yeah. So not only this, but in the last 3 months or 4 months, I met so many people, and all of them have given us support. Yeah. And they said, just involve us. Anyway, we are on board, right? Whatever we can do for you, tell us. That's the response I've got. And these are the names. And some of the people are right here. Yeah. And so it's absolutely fantastic, the kind of response that I've got from people every time, even for organizing this event. I wanted some videos, this, that, and the other. Just all yes. And people have worked overnight in the US and other places to send us the stuff so that this meeting can be successful. We can get this this whole movement moving at full speed. And a lot of people are interested in networking with us, so they can learn from us and we can learn from them. Our current model is that we want to establish what we call as a prototype here, that it should work efficiently. The community has to participate to see how this prototype shapes up. But our job is not to get into business and open different centers in other parts of India right now. Yeah, our vision is that we want to create a really good model and let people replicate this model elsewhere, just like the Vipassana model of Mr. Goenka. So those of you who are familiar with the Vipassana model, it's a one man who came from Burma to heal himself, right? And who started a center, out of his house in Bombay, never went back to Burma, and he came from a very rich family because the Indians never let him go because he was so good in healing his parents. And he actually came to heal his parents after he had healed himself in Burma, never went back. Yeah, and then now you can see the movement. And Vipassana centers, if you were to do a typical CAGR calculation on their growth rate numbers and all that stuff, you will be amazed at what the numbers are. Yeah, I have Upasana centers almost everywhere in the world now. And they're all independent centers, but they operate to a single discipline, right? Right from the start, 4 o'clock in the morning, till 9:30 at night, every minute is choreographed. Yeah, and all the videos are constant, the same everywhere in the world, and so on and so forth. That's a fantastic model. And you know, the great thing about the model is there's no fees. You pay what you feel like. Yeah, and you pay what you feel like, so that the movement and the benefit can go into others. Yeah. So Vipassana centers are now all over the world. That is current thinking. Yeah. We can change it as we go along as a community, but that's the current thinking. If you can get one good center going here, it'll provide the basis for it then to get replicated elsewhere. I really do believe that when you pursue a higher purpose objective without money expectation, the universe begins to support you. Yeah. And these are new learnings for me in the last 2-3 years, yeah, quite frankly. And I have now begun to experience the magic myself. Every day, something new happens which adds value to what we are doing. Yeah, including Anji yesterday at lunch at your house. I could tell you the Dalai Lama story later on, because of the guy who made the comment that Dalai Lama is interested in integration. Yeah, but I had got the message in Paris from a medium 4 days ago that you're headed in this direction. Yeah. So this magic, I mean, this is all new to me. I mean, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, somebody talked to me and I said, yes. So, I'm changing too, yeah. I'm beginning to accept there is a lot I don't know, we don't know, and it's going to come with the grace of God. And if you have a, love in your heart, and if you have the, higher purpose objective, and you're not looking to make money, as the front, objective of your stuff, the universe will collaborate. So this magic, this synchronicity, this whatever you may call it, yeah, is happening. Yeah, and I'm now beginning to see it. Yeah, and it's absolutely amazing. Yeah. So in order to promote this community, I just wanted to also share that, we have a place, I have a personal place in Hartola, in a small village. This is the landscape around there. It's in district Nainital, on the next hill from Mukteshwar. Mukteshwar is a very famous temple. And this is Dev Bhumi, this whole area. And there are lots of interesting ashrams there, including the one, Karoli Baba's ashram and so on and so forth. And, famous people have been there, like Steve Jobs and all that. So this is a very interesting area. We have a very nice space, and I've decided that if any of our TQIW members would like to go there, they can go there, do their workshops, and and go and meditate. Because meditation is very important, and if you need time to think and all that, you're more than welcome to do it. The details are on our website. There's a guy there who can handle your reservations. So please, any of you feel like going there, you're more than welcome. And if you can't find the place, which is the 0 milestone on Hartola, in the village of Hartola, which is 10 kilometers from Nathota, on the way, to Mukteshwar, and we have the maps and all that. You can always ask for. We're looking for Tony Singh's house, which is daughter built, which looks like an airplane, and everybody knows that this is that house, right? So this is Priyanka's contribution, to our life. She designed this house. We had lots of angst in executing this, because executing this in the hills is quite a job. But that was a great opportunity, learning for us to also to get to know each other and all that. So it's a very nice space. It's ready to go. I try to spend as much time there as possible now, because it's really very nice. And we have developed a really nice community feeling there. A number of our partners have already started going there. The Konohana family was here in India recently. We spent some lovely time with them there, and they're involved in now converting the whole village to permaculture and eco-friendly practices and so on. So there's lots of interesting magic is beginning to happen there. So I just want you to know that we have this resource, and we look forward to meeting there more often. Yeah. This whole journey about integrated medicine and looking at a new paradigm of medicine, etc. We've been sort of at it for a while. One has to develop one's own belief system, because how do you believe that all what you hear? So this is a live response from a mother of a child who was brought to a home in Delhi, when Dr. Schlotz, Castro's father, was in Delhi on his first visit, and was demonstrating BAH, to a closed circuit of friends. Yeah, the bioresonance analysis of health system, where you take a drop of blood, and based on the blood, you get the information that's required to treat the illness. So this boy had been given up by the allopathic world, and we get Dr. Ashutosh Shukla to actually examine him and see whether the allopaths could do anything. And the allopath's conclusion, Sandeep knows about this too, yeah. The allopath's conclusion was there's nothing very much you can do for him, yeah. And Dr. Schlutz was able to identify, exactly what the root causes of the issues were through that, process that he has, and he very generously decided that he will try to help this family. And try to help this boy, because the mother was, only child, first child, and it's like that, yeah. And so they wrapped up their business here. They gone to the States. They're staying there and getting the treatment done. And this is the mother's mail from 2 days ago, yeah. And so the boy is improving, yeah. And it's actually fantastic to see it, that there is a method of looking at, a situation in a different way, which can yield better results than what we have traditionally been used to in the past. Yeah, and this is really, really heartening. This is not the only testimonial we have. I'm a testimonial which I'll be talking, tomorrow. I'll give you a glimpse of that, today. And there are, a couple of other people in the pipeline as well, and they will join the community, and you'll get to meet them, in the future events. But there's enough evidence on the table that there's really solid stuff out there that we can leverage. This is a photograph from my visit to a hospital in China. I saw 2 very big hospitals in China where they're working on integrating Chinese medicine with, what they call Western medicine. And so here is a live case, and this is a room that I sat and observed. There are 2 doctors here. There's a Western educated doctor and a Chinese educated doctor, and they're treating this patient on a holistic basis. This is happening in real life. Yeah, and when you go to this hospital, you have to see the scale of this hospital. I mean, just unbelievable, the size, and the department they got, and the flow of people coming in and going out, huge, yeah. And they got all treatments going on. They got Western treatment going on. They got Chinese treatment going on. In the same hospital, yeah. And you have to go to the pharmacy, and you'll be amazed at the pharmacy. The herbal pharmacy is like 2,000 shelves of stuff in it, right? It's a mind-blowing experience to just go to the pharmacy and see how they pick up stuff and make individual prescriptions and so on and so forth. And obviously people are coming, getting cured, going away, and so the system is working. That's why it's such a big hospital. So you have to believe after you're there for a day, you begin to realize that, hey, it's happening here. Can't ignore it, yeah. So I want to share a little glimpse with you about my own personal experience. Yeah, this is my typical, medical report. I'm being very disciplined about my annual medical tests every year. Yeah, so I do a very comprehensive annual medical test. And in the last 7 years, I've maintained a big fat file and keep it everything systematically as I am. And so this is my last medical test report, right? And it clearly identifies, according to the existing, conventions in allopathy, that these are the medicines I need to take. The problem I had was that if I look at my last 3 to 4 years progression, notwithstanding all my efforts, yeah, and our doctors could argue we didn't make enough effort, my medicine amounts are increasing. Yeah, my sugars were becoming worse, and my cholesterol was becoming worse, notwithstanding all my effort, yeah, and it was getting worse every year. So it started off first year, 500 milligrams of metformin, next year 1,000, third year 1,500. When it came to 1,500, I said, no, I'm not going to down this task, because I had started to get sensing that you can heal yourself, yeah. And so, and when I was around 15 pills a day, I decided that I need to, figure out another way to handle this, because I now can see the big picture. I can see that this is not going to really resolve the issue, because I can't even understand the root cause. So I started this journey about trying to understand the root cause, yeah, or what the root causes are and what the fixes are. And so it firstly started with theta healing. And I was just amazed what a theta healer, with a really good theta healer, can just scan your body without doing any tests and tell you pretty much what the big picture is. Then I met another healer who uses dowsing as a methodology, but he's got a template, right? Pretty much something like the DH template. And he can, he gave me a perspective, yeah, of where the issues are in my situation. And then, through the journeys, etc., I landed up in Istanbul with another Islamic healer. Very intuitive again, see me, watch some things on my nails, feet, this, that, little physical examination, told me what it's, what it's all about, what I need to do. And there is when I formally started the treatment of naturopathy, by whatever name called. And I started making great progress with leech therapy and, and cupping therapy and herbal treatments, fastings particularly, fastings are absolutely fantastic. And I started slowly losing weight. I was 97 kilos there, I'm 79 this morning, yeah. My beliefs started becoming big more and more in all this stuff, yeah. And then I met Dr. Schutz, yeah, I did my pH evaluation. I was absolutely convinced, what I could see, and it was resonating 95% with what I was hearing already through the other method. It's just unbelievable, yeah. And then I can't go to Switzerland, I can't go to New York because of the distance. So I asked Dr. Schultz, can you recommend me someplace, closer in Europe where I can, pursue this? And he recommended me a clinic, and a great dear friend of his, Dr. Thomas Rao in Switzerland, the Paracelsus clinic in Tüfen. Tüfen is one of the cantons in Switzerland, which is a city where you have tremendous flexibility because it's a canton. Every canton is totally independent in Switzerland. So this canton waves off all the constraints of practicing alternative medicine which are prevalent everywhere else in the world. So it's a little place where, there's a very rich bunch of people and tremendous flexibility to do. So they do a lot of alternative and complementary integrated biomedicine treatment, whatever name called. So I landed up there, and I was shocked as a result of the reports that they published, because this time they were able to produce hardcore evidence from laboratories, yeah, which the bioresonance analysis doesn't do, because it's an information-based system which produces it. But if somebody is a skeptic, you can't escape the data that's produced by this institute. And again, a 95% overlap with what had been discovered earlier. So my medical issues, the root cause is toxicity. And I was shocked that when the doctor saw my reports, he said, "You're still walking?" He said, we understand that DDT is a big problem in India because it's well known, yeah. And he said, but the levels of DDT in your body are unbelievable. I'm changing your medication right now on detox. And those guys went on to me straight away to detox me. So detox, and my detox, heavy, and I'm just sharing the top high-level stuff, and there's a much more detailed review, which is available with me, and I've shared it with Sandeep Budhi Raja completely, and I've shared it with Poonam Das. Help me reconcile this, what do you feel about it as doctors, having looked at both sides? So DDT, DDE, mercury, arsenic, aluminium, huge toxicity. He says your level of toxicity is unacceptable. Yeah. Second, allergies, milk, wheat, eggs, nuts. Yeah. Specific viruses that have never been detected in my assessments. Yeah. A missing gene, which is blocking an enzyme, which is causing a digestive problem, and I'm suffering from what is called as the total metabolic syndrome, which I believe is now beginning to get recognized in the West. And this could be the flip side of what is called the irritable bowel syndrome, which nobody can analyze and nobody can figure out. Yeah, but these guys know exactly what it is, and they have a different way of looking at things. Yeah, and they reconfirm, which actually Dr. Schultz also picked up, in his bioresonance analysis. There's a dental problem that you have to address, and it's a pretty serious problem. And there's a molar tooth that I have, which is sitting on an energy meridian, which is affecting the energy, channels to my heart. Yeah, so it has to be addressed, but I can't address everything in one shot. So we have phased it out, right? And you need a quantum doctor, a quantum dentist to understand this, because extraction of teeth is very, very sensitive. Because the nerve endings of many organs, all your organs actually, one of the places they do is teeth. So you have to understand this technology, which most dentists in India don't. I've been trying to get dentists to the table, to get them interested in this, but they're not. Nobody's actually picked up the challenge right now. But there are some world-class quantum dentists, and they have got a very serious view about how dentistry should be taken, and whether tooth should be extracted or not, whether root canal should be done or not, and what kind of filling should be done, and so on and so forth, and how the teeth are connected to organs, and therefore there's a problem which is not evident to a dentist, which is my case, because the dentist here, told me that I asked them what the quality of my situation, everything all right, everything perfect. I said on a scale of 1 to 10, what's the ranking? 8 on 10. I said anything I need to do? Nothing. These guys saying you got a serious problem. Yeah, you need to remove this one. Number 18, they know it exactly which it is. And number 18 was picked up through BAH, one drop of blood. Same thing, except the Swiss guys have now all the sophisticated tests which point and confirm number 18. So I can provide hardcore evidence, and sometime I'll have to address this within this year, but I'm going to one step. They're pretty deep surgery and all that stuff, so I'm a little scared. So I want to do everything a little bit dumb to do it. Yeah, but first time in my life, I really got to the bottom. And over 2 weeks, I must have spent 7 hours with my doctor there, who told me, firstly, he told me what the situation is, asked me to confirm my situation. Then secondly, he asked me, whether I would be willing to do other treatments, and these are the treatments, and they do a fantastic job in educating me on the treatments. And thirdly, before I came back, he took a medical test. He said, now you are in charge of your health. You tell me whatever you understood. He asked me questions. So why am I giving you this medicine? How many are you supposed to take? When are you supposed to change the cycle? And so on and so forth. Very well done, right? And I checked with Poonam last night. Das, who's done my test to figure out what the changes, all parameters have improved, and I'm really very, very happy with my results. Yeah, I've got one more issue to go and my teeth to go. We'll see how it goes. Having said all this, yeah, everything in life has got an expiry date. Yeah, and there's a degenerative process on with age which you cannot avoid. I have to deal with that as well. So I'm not saying that this will make you live to 100, yeah, but this will make my life much more comfortable than I was. I was really beginning to feel very uncomfortable, before I went for, this treatment. Then, that's why I wanted to pursue it through, because I'm getting all kinds of funny feelings. It's very difficult to describe, a little bit of vertigo, this, that, and all the other stuff. And, so with the last allopathic pill, which I stopped about 2 weeks ago, my last major issue that was there was feeling a little, what should I say, loss of balance at occasional, times, and even that's gone. And that happened because I went and read on the website what the last pill was all about. And 3% side effect is exactly what I was suffering from. Yeah. So most of the medicines that I take, are there's a lot of detox work they're doing on me, basically flushing out. Yeah. And the second thing they're addressing is what they call your intestinal milieu, which is diet, cereals, vitamins, minerals, and about 8 or 9 different therapies, starting even with magnet therapy, with other things. I don't want to bore you, but doctors here are now getting educated on my personal case as an example to sort of build their own conviction levels, to regenerate the body's basic healing capacity. What they fundamentally try to do is get your autonomic nervous system and to get your immune capability back to its normal level, so that your body can deal with all your issues. You don't need outside intervention. Lifestyle changes. I've changed my lifestyle a lot. I haven't had alcohol for the last 6 weeks. Yeah, which is a big change for me. I have to get rid of my lovely red wine. And I've simplified my food because of the allergies. I have to pretty much lead a vegan food regime now. And I feel better. My energy levels have become really great. I get up in the morning, I'm ready to go. Yeah. And my weight is down, as I said this morning, 79. Yeah, which is great. My target is to get to 70. Yeah. So this is my personal experience. So I wanted to share that with you because personal experience I think is very important. For people to develop the belief. So this is a community, and I don't mind sharing it. Yeah, a lot of people are very secretive about their medical health and all that. For me, it's not a secret at all. I feel if my experience can help others, I like to be able to do that. And so going forward, we are trying to build this community so that we can all share with each other the way I'm sharing with you, and you can share with us. And we are hoping that the expertise in the doctor community here will become bigger, and that we can then start doing some of this stuff, which analyzes root causes and can address issues on a permanent basis. So in building up this community, there are going to be some challenges that we have to overcome. I want to share them with you. One, is basically, get the believers. Now, some of you may think that this is a small audience. For me, this is a big audience because I know each one of you, and I know what you bring to the table and how powerful each one of you is, and the collective power of this team. Yeah. I look at this whole community as collecting what I call golden buttons, gems, rubies, and diamonds. So this is a golden gems in a haystack game. Yeah, it's going to grow very slowly. Yeah, because quality is very important and alignment is very important. Only some kind of people will land up joining this community. And if we got 50 members today, for me, that is great success. Yeah. And we will continue to build, and this is my old belief, which I still continue to believe, that, quality takes time to build anywhere, particularly in India. And if you try to make this too big, you'll become the Indian Railways. Yeah. I've always been a quality model, small is beautiful, and build one really good thing. If you want to scale up, then let there be another Vipassana center elsewhere and so on and so forth. It will catch fire if it's a good idea. Yeah. We have already started catching fire. There's a bunch of people in Paris who are already, beginning to self-organize to, figure out how to handle this in their territory. There's a lot of interest also in Fez in Morocco, where I go, where people are beginning to, think about, this. So it's beginning to happen in different places. Yeah. So we'll see how it goes. But my energies, efforts in this life, I think, will be if I can get something really going good and working here in my lifetime. And so we are in the process of collecting this. So my request to all of you is that if you know of any exceptional practitioners with open mind and who want to walk this path, please refer it to us, because we would like to welcome them and have discussions with them. So I do a lot of Skype calls with many people expressing interest and all that. So there's in a lot of people's minds, this idea is cooking. Yeah, and you will begin to see that those guys, after they've cooked it and developed their own personal commitment, they'll start joining this community and come here. So patience is important in this, and the ability to not get rattled. Yeah. Oh, because we're not in the corporate paradigm. We're not saying we're going to reach these targets and these numbers by this date and all that. That's not the intention here. The idea is, to really, keep quality in mind and let it organically grow. When you planted the seed, the process of creation will automatically take care of it. It'll grow. Yeah, with the right idea. Yeah. So the second thing is, how do we manage to a new organization methodology, right? Because we've been used to command and control kind of mechanization in the corporate world. This is not a command and control operation. Yeah. This is collegiality. This is cooperation. This is empathy. This is compassion. This is love. This is all that stuff, right? So this is a big learning for us, to get out of that paradigm and convert ourselves into this paradigm. And we'll all have to learn together. So and that's already happening. And the biggest evidence of that is that 12 people carrying this badge today working together without hierarchy at all. Yeah. And everybody's doing their own thing, they know what to do, and everybody, is hopefully having a great time, And I'm grateful for their energy, to help us all build this at this point in time, particularly. The third thing is funding. So there's been this big debate. So a lot of people told me, where's the money going to come from? So there are two ways to look at it. One way to look at it is we are doing this for money, right? So your thinking then is all about how to construct your models which are aimed at creating money. Your measure of success is money. Yeah. The other way to do it is that we are following a higher purpose objective, right? And we do the right thing. We will maintain the right ethics. We will maintain the authenticity, transparency, etc. And if it's a good idea, it will proceed forward and money will come. Yeah, and some magic will happen. And that is happening. That's the model we follow. So money is coming, magic is happening, volunteers coming. Even if I had to quantify, the amount of monetary value that's coming because of advice that we give, or advice that we receive, or the contribution that people make to us, or the voluntary work they do to us, this institution is already very rich. Yeah, actually the qualitative, assets, or what we say is, contributions in kind are actually very sizable and are more valuable than just money. Yeah. So that magic is happening. That's our belief. Let's see what happens. But I very firmly believe in it because I've seen these models. I've seen the Vipassana model, for example. They are they're not suffering any growth because of lack of money. As a matter of fact, it's amazing to see, the liberal stand on money. And you have to hear Mr. Goenka himself, the day he had to sell this idea to the trust that we will not have a fees. This will be, paid, by people from their heart. you know, and the argument he used to sell it, you have to see it for yourself. And you have to go to one of these centers to see them yourself. I've done the Vipassana course myself in France, 10 days, absolutely wonderful experience, you know. And so I've seen this, and I've met the people there, I see how the center works, you know, and I know a number of people who are in this, business, wrong word, but you know, in this practice, and it's absolutely wonderful model. The last, you know, 2 items is persistence. You know, so you know, sometimes people tend to prejudge you. That's why we don't want to bring the press. We're not ready for the press, and we're not running after, you know, the press either. You know, at the right time, the press will give us the right, you know, sound bites if we deserve it. We don't want, you know, the fix the perception in the marketplace kind of press. You know, so you know, we have a Gandhian approach to this, that we are dealing with the truth, and the community is you know, all aligned and experiencing the benefit. The results, you know, will happen. Yeah, but to run a community efficiently, you do need traction. That things must happen. It should not be bindas. You know, everybody is doing their own thing without coordination. So you need a certain number of minimum employees to orchestrate what's happening in the community on a day-to-day basis. So we will recruit 3 people that we're looking for, and if there are any people here who are interested in a job with the TQIW, we are looking for the best trainer doctor who wants to become a quantum doctor, who will himself or herself become a doctor first, and then teach others, yeah, and start treating some people, you know, to demonstrate that this, you know, idea works. Second thing we need is a CEO and a project manager, COO and a project manager to run the institution on a day-to-day basis. You know, because all of us are living in, you know, our lives, and we can't devote 100% of our time to this, but it needs a person who's 100% of the time. There's a lot of work to be done to grow this. And the third thing is we need a wellness guy, you know, somebody who can direct people how to handle this, yeah, how to look at this, educate them at the 101 level, so that they can access the right therapies and the right counseling at the right stage. And I said we already have a role model in France, so we can follow that template and get on from there. So with that, you know, I wanted to really open the floor for any questions that you have. All I can say is I'm absolutely delighted with the progress that we've made. It's personally very satisfying to me. You know, and I get up in the morning, I'm all excited about, you know, what I have to do today, you know, for TQIW. And it fits in with who I am, yeah. And as I said, you know, 4 more important questions in life are: who are you, why are you here, where are you coming from, and where are you going? Yeah, if you can answer those, you know, you get clarity, and if you align yourself to that, you remain healthy, you remain happier, you remain motivated, and so on and so forth. So because you get up in the morning, there's no confusion in your mind about conflicts you have to manage, and so on. So I'm actually very delighted with all this. So. I'm very sure that, you know, as you begin to understand this better, and all of you are here this morning on a Sunday at a very early start, I appreciate it, and I presume that's because you are deeply interested in this, and this is also resonating with you in some way with your heart, and it will continue to grow because, you know, you're dealing with a, you know, fantastic opportunity to engage with truth in yourself. So with that, thank you very much. But questions?
Tony, there doesn't have to be an answer, a precise answer, this moment. I'm sure it will evolve. But for level of clarity, I think the level of clarity that you have today, what is not clear to me? So firstly, congratulations about your own improvement in your own condition and energy level and so on. So well done. Tony is very, very dear to me, so I just feel very happy just at the thought of seeing a fitter, better, happier Tony. What I'm not clear is that is the pursuit, this pursuit, is it about therapy, medicine, wellness, mind-body connection, spirituality, provoking internal awareness levels? I'm not clear on that part. So about immunity and toxicity is very, very important. Normally, people, we know fever, we know pain, we presentation is very clear. I think I can sit with you and you can tell me where to go, and I'm sure I'll get some benefit of the people and so on and so forth. But then there are parts of the presentation that start addressing some very inner spiritual aspects of life and mind-body connection. So I'm saying then, should I forget about my personal treatment and physical well-being, and should I go after that? That's not coming up.
Yeah. So this will evolve, the clarity on this will evolve, but the big picture is like this, that the point of arrival and the fundamental raison d'etre for the existence of this institute is to change the paradigm from existing conventional medicine, to holistic medicine. Yeah, that's the fundamental bottom line. Yeah, in order to do that, you've got to create a bunch of people together and a new belief system, which is creditable, right? Which has the power to convince the outside world that this is doable, it makes sense, and there is evidence that it works, and it is the right way to go. And therefore, in order to get that done, you have to then begin to examine all the issues of where you are today and where you are trying to migrate to in terms of integrated medicine, and what does integrated medicine really mean. So, and what are the implications of that? So, life is not perfect. We are not going to get there from 0 to 100 in day one. But if we were to ever get to 100, we'll have to cover all the issues that we talked about. You have to handle this spiritual, because you have to handle it holistically. So there are some very interesting videos you'll see, including Amit Goswami's video, and you'll hear Dr. Hekte immediately after this. When you go through all that, you will come to the realization that in order to manage your body, mind and soul, you have to manage the 4 dimensions that Rajendra talked about, the emotional aspects and so on and so forth as well. And underlying that, to manage that, you have to be spiritually oriented and so on and so forth. So there is a very clear, sort of what I call spin down chart, which we present at the next meeting when, more thinking is clear, because, you need to see some of these videos, introspect on some of these ideas. But yes, you will have to be more spiritual. You will have to be more disciplined on diet. You will have to, mend your relationships. You will have to, eat some herbals and so on and so forth. You will have to do, movement, as Deepak Chopra would call it, a certain amount of physical exercise and all that. So you have to change. So if there's a chart that I can present next time, it would be the change chart. Today and move to this, and all these items will come there. But what is it in terms of priority depends on your case, because the other interesting paradigm is that none of us are identical. We are absolutely unique machines, or whatever you may want to call it. I don't want to use the word machine, but we are absolutely unique in our constructs. So if you make an assumption today that, Tony, you've got blood sugar, and Anurjit's got blood sugar, both of you need to go to any metformin, wrong decision, wrong assumption. There's not enough evidence to prove that every human being is different. And for the same symptom, you will have a different root cause, requires a different treatment. So understanding your system together with a good doctor, and it's a great responsibility in your part to understand your system, because you can really understand your system by listening to yourself, by connecting with yourself. But that requires a meditative capability and all that, which takes time to develop. What Dr. Schultz is doing, with 1 drop of blood, you can do it without the blood. If you are really up there. And you have some people who know this. You're sitting right next to somebody who was very, very up there, and others. So this community is very rich in this kind of experience, on these paradigms that we are trying to change. Right? So this will all happen as we go forward. And we'll all get a better and better understanding, because each one of us will be able to contribute to the knowledge of the other and bring about over a period of time consistency in understanding about A, your individuality, and B, the truth that you can follow. Yes, Ratash. Hi.
Can I be heard?
Yes.
Okay. So
you can stand up so you can see your handsome self. He is another, outstanding individual. I mean, all of you are outstanding. When you get to hear each other's story, who's doing what, you'll be amazed. Here's one such guy.
Thank you. This is about you.
Us.
Firstly, compliments on this journey of the last 2 years. While I've been around in bits and pieces as it has unfolded, it's amazing where this has got to. And I see incredible potential going ahead. And compliments on your personal 97 to 79. Personal inspiration. I've been struggling with this for a long time myself. Two comments on this. The business of healing has got to be e-commerce. Yeah. Whether it's doctors or hospitals or whatever, the driving force is throughput. The least amount of time on a per patient basis. And experiences like this exist in small hospitals, large hospitals. I've had personal recent experience with one. And it's an industry, right? And you do tend to treat people in almost as pieces of metal moving through the system. Now what it does is create efficiency, which is needed. What it loses is efficacy, where one of the things that suffers is the consumer experience. And there are horror stories almost on a day-to-day basis. It's almost like, the delight stories we had in telecom when I used to be there 15 years ago, become horror stories of today. So I think that's something we need to watch out for as we architect lying around in India and overseas. What it seeks is purpose, and therefore, as this becomes bigger and larger, and noble and spiritual in that sense, or focused, if you like, intellect, that's not it. So the last resource we should be worrying about in this area.
Okay, just a quick comment. We're out of time, so I'm going to get off. We have another Q&A session later in the day where all panelists will be here and the audience can ask all the questions. But just to quickly respond to your first point. You see, treatment between a doctor and a patient requires quality time. Okay, there is no shortcut to that. Yeah, so you can't make it so efficient that you don't spend the time. I've been meeting doctors who are quitting their jobs. Yeah. Because they've been trained by the National Health Institute in the UK now, the National Health System, to now treat patients in 7.5 minutes versus 20 minutes that they were allocated earlier. And they said, you can't do it. I quit. Yeah? So, but what you can do is process engineering, right? And you can deal with different processes and you can delegate them to non-doctors because they're looking for a specific input. Yeah? But it has to be brought together. And that quality time has to be sent. There has to be a relationship, and that's what the Quantum Doctor book, describes the relationship between a doctor. Dr. Schultz's book also describes the relationship between a doctor and a patient, and actually there is no shortcut to that. Because if you don't invest in it like that, then you're running a butcher shop. So with that, thank you very much. See you later. Rajendra, over to you.